Hello friends, there has been some more news that has come out about Star Wars Outlaws, and while I really want to like this game, the more and more stuff that comes out about it, the more nervous I get about it. And so we need to have a chat about that. Like I said, I really have seen a lot of promising stuff in this game. I am excited for it. I think it does look pretty cool, but there's some other facts that have come out. There's some stuff. As we get closer to the release, every time I learn something new, every time I see something new, there's something that I just go, oh boy, why? Why can't we just have Star Wars Outlaws and have it not be complicated? But maybe this is just gaming in 2024. So let's talk about that. So, after I did my reaction to the trailer, I was literally told that for this game, there was going to be a Seasons Pass. Uptown Duck was saying that he saw the breakdown for the different editions and saw a Seasons Pass mentioned, and I didn't even believe it. That's where I was at. That's how nervous that made me, as I was like, that can't be correct. Are you sure? And he was like, I am sure. And so I went and looked for myself, and I gotta say, why? Why is this happening? Why does everything have to have a Seasons Pass in this era? What is that about? Now, of course, it's not a battle pass like we have in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. It's not that level. So hold on a second and just hold up. However, it is going to be a Seasons Pass like Assassin's Creed, which I think a lot of people have mixed feelings about. Well, I mean, I think the thing is, we like DLC, right? I like DLC. I'm sure you enjoy DLC. But what I don't like is when I feel that there was stuff that is removed from the game for the benefits of selling me more content. DLC is great when it's additional content, and it's also really good when it gets hyped and we have more idea of what we're going to be getting with that. Now, with this Season's Pass, I don't feel like we have a lot of information yet. So it's hard when we look at these different editions and the costs for us to justify spending that money for a Season's Pass. There's some other issues too that we have to get into with this game and just in general, but we're getting there. We're getting there. 2 upcoming story pack DLCs. Yeah, we know nothing. We don't even have it. We're not even getting a title. With Alan Wake and their DLC, we got a title. We got an idea of what it was going to be about, at least. And it isn't like I got access to Alan Wake, I think, early. I don't think their editions had that. Which also, I gotta say, I don't mind the early access, but I hate that like every game has it now. Especially because as a content creator, I always feel compelled to get it because I'm just like, well, it means that I can make content sooner. I can let people see it earlier, so it's good for that. Because with content, a lot of the times now you have to be like the first person. It's always good to be early, but it feels like they're literally, I feel targeted. I feel targeted when I say the early access. I'm like, oh, I mean, I feel like I have to at least get one of the early access ones. So our options here are we have the standard edition, which comes with the base game and the pre-order bonus. What I do like about the pre-order bonus is that you get the Kessel Runner bonus pack, and all versions come with that. So if you pre-order, you get that. It's basically a ship skin and a bike skin, and it looks pretty cool. It's like Millennium Falcon vibes. I'm into it. With the gold edition, you get the base game, you get the pre-order bonus, 3 days early access, and you get the Season Pass. The Season Pass, by the way, is going to come with 2 DLC story missions. What are they? What are those packs? What's the loot? What are we doing? I don't know. Hasn't been expanded upon yet, I don't believe. I have an issue with that because I'd like to know what I'm spending my money on, but I literally have no idea. So is it worth it? We don't know yet. So you might buy that and then regret it. Then there's Ultimate Edition. Ultimate Edition comes with the base game, the pre-order bonus, 3 days early access, the Season Pass. It also comes with 2 skin bundles. You see you have the Rogue Infiltrator bundle and you have the Sabak Shark bundle, which are just cosmetics for your ship, your bike, and also for Kay, Vess, and Nyx, which I gotta say, I am very tempted just by the fact that it looks like in both, Nyx gets like some kind of like headgear. In one, literally Nyx is wearing a hat or goggles, and it's so cute. You also get a digital art book. I mean, sure, just give me a digital art. Why is this considered even a bonus? I mean, I'm sure it's nice, but it's digital. It's not even physical. So the price points for these. So we're talking $90 Canadian for the standard edition, $145 for gold, a whopping $170 for the Ultimate Edition. And then, of course, they're trying to sell you on the Ubisoft Plus, which is their monthly gaming pass, which gets you access to 100 plus PC games, and it gets you the Ultimate Edition if you have the PC, game pass. However, also that's only as long as you're subscribed. Once you leave, you don't have it because you don't own anything. And Ubisoft has also said some things that are ruffling people's feathers in regards to gaming passes and how those work, and that versus owning your games. But don't worry, we're going to get to that. I'm also going to have that full interview that we're going to be pulling quotes from down in the video description, so also feel free to check that out. When we get there, I'll talk about it more, but the prices themselves are really painful to see, and I understand why a lot of people are upset about this. I personally am upset. My wallet is crying. My wallet is literally crying. I also know that a lot of people are talking about those American prices, which are also high, but I just wanted to share with you the Canadian prices because that's what I'm shopping in, and it's really bad. Like, I also understand that a lot of people see it as, well, the Canadian dollar isn't as strong, so of course the price is going to be higher. Like, that's fine, but it's just Canadian money. No big deal, right? Here's the thing. In Canada, I'm not paid more just because I'm paid in the Canadian dollar. I don't think a lot of people think about how that works here, but it's not like, if I'm getting paid whatever, 150 a day, let's say, it's not like they're like, well, it's 150 a day, but it'd be in Canadian, so obviously we need to make that more to make up for the global market. Like, that doesn't happen. So we get gouged, but we're not making more as Canadians. It sucks. And our dollar is weaker, so when we travel, that sucks. No one likes our money and wants to take it, so that sucks. But these prices just across the board, I think, are kind of suck. Especially when I don't know how big the game is going to be yet. I saw someone saying that the game was going to be like 6 hours for the story. There's nothing that I've seen that has substantiated that, so I can't really speak to that right now. I am curious to see how long it will take us to play through. Based on how it looks like it's a pretty big game, so I feel like we're probably looking at least 20 plus hours, but I could be wrong. I don't know. There's not information on it that I've been able to find. If you do have information on that, let me know. I would love to read. I would love to learn about it. Share. Please share. Sharing is caring. Now, the other issue about Star Wars Outlaws is that apparently we have to be online to play the game. Now, this has to do with the servers and saving your progress and transferring it and all that good stuff. But this makes me nervous. I also am not sure if this is what's happening, but we need to talk about this because I'm tired of buying physical versions of games, of buying discs, and having to download 80 gigs worth of a game onto a console or onto a computer or, wherever I'm playing. I mean, not my computer. My computer doesn't have a disk drive, but on my console. Like, what's the point of having a disc? Like, we have Blu-rays now. How much can you put on a Blu-ray? A lot. Oh my gosh, okay. So here's the thing. You can store a lot on a disc. Maybe not as much as you need in a game, so maybe you will need to get more on there, but it's a lot. And we have consoles now that can take in Blu-rays. They can read a Blu-ray disc. Why do I have to download 80 to 100 gigs every time I get a new game? And I get a disc? Something should be on that. If back in the day I could play a game on multiple floppy disks, then there's no way that I can't have more of my game on the actual disc itself. So the other thing that I worry about with needing to have an online connection is that this is setting us up for that same problem I have with every physical game that I own, and then it makes me wonder what's the point of even getting it physically, especially what's the point of getting it physically when if I'm playing it online so that it can have a server, if something happens to that, I could lose the game, which also leads us to the controversy that Ubisoft has been facing and why a lot of people are upset about this, which has to do with the fact that they had a game called The Crew, and The Crew was recently removed. It's been removed from the servers, which means that you cannot play this game. So people that bought the game can no longer play it. Now, this is also boiled into a legal issue, but there's actually going to be action taken. There's a YouTuber who's looking at basically suing Ubisoft and getting this all together because apparently in the contract, they were sold a good, not a service, which means you can't just take it away from people. It's a good. You're supposed to pay for it and you own it, and that's it. And really, we need more of that, because I'm so tired of buying games and then living in fear of no one playing the game and then me just losing it because it's digital. It's weird. We live in a digital age, and you would think that would mean that we have more access to stuff, but it feels like it's almost limiting us. The thing with The Crew as well is that actually came at a really bad time for Ubisoft. It came at a really bad time because shortly after they made this announcement that The Crew was going to be shut down at the end of March, which it was, there was an interview that was done in January. So near the end of December, I believe it was, they made that announcement. People were not happy about it. There were still a lot of people that played the game too, so I feel bad for those folks. And then they did an interview that honestly feels like it was kind of tone deaf a little bit. I feel bad because the interview itself sounds very positive, and I feel like if it were at any other time and without this sense of it being empty words and false promises, these are like honeyed words that will never come true, I would have liked this. And yet, here we are. So in this interview with Games Industry Biz, there is a specific line that is being quoted. Often, actually, it's being misquoted, to be real with you. People are kind of warping the words based on the context, which isn't necessarily 100% wrong, because I understand based on the context and what was said here, you could reshape these words in that way, and it does make sense. However, it's not even the worst part of the interview. So a lot of the things that people are quoting, and I'm going to give you the full kind of paragraph that it's in for context. And this is an interview that was done with Philippe Tremblay, who is the director of subscriptions at Ubisoft. He specifically is working in the subscription field. That's what he does. He's the Ubisoft Plus person. He basically said, one of the things we saw is that gamers are used to, a little bit like DVD, having and owning their games. That's the consumer shift that needs to happen. They got comfortable not owning their CD collection or their DVD collection. That's a transformation that's been a bit slower to happen, in brackets, in games. As gamers grow comfortable in that aspect, you don't lose your progress. If you resume your game at another time, your progress file is still there. That's not been deleted. You don't lose what you've built in the game or your engagement with the game, so it's about feeling comfortable with not owning your game. That's the part that people are misquoting. People are saying that they said, you need to get comfortable with this. And they never really said, you need to get comfortable with this. What they directly said is, this is something that gamers will get basically more comfortable with over time. They're saying they got comfortable with this, and that's a transformation that is going to be slower, but gamers will get more comfortable with it. Because, you know, it's great. You can keep your progress. Your game's not been deleted. It's beautiful. You're never going to lose anything. So it's about feeling comfortable with not owning your game. It's about feeling comfortable. They're not telling you what to do. They're just saying, once people are more comfortable with it, this is going to be the norm. This is where we see the trend going based on other forms of media. However, that is a beautiful idea if it didn't immediately contradict. I mean, they just shut a game down. So no, I don't have my progress. Because the whole game was deleted. I don't even have the game. I have now lost all of that. So how can you come out and say this when you just made that announcement? It's so bad optically. It's really like cringe. Like it hurts me to read it. He goes on to say, they will see that these games will exist. The service will continue, and you'll be able to access them when you feel like. That's reassuring. You know what's not reassuring? When you say this and literally you remove a game so that the game doesn't exist, the service does not continue, and I cannot access the game when I feel like it because it's been removed. This is the part people should be quoting, especially in relation to The Crew, because this isn't about telling people they have to get comfortable with something. This is about an interview where basically what's being said is we want to give everybody options while at the same time removing our options by removing games. And also, in addition to that, making things have to be online, making it so that you have to have an internet connection. That means you're removing the option for me as a consumer to be offline when I want to. There's going to be games that I can't play when I'm offline. What if I want to go off the grid and play a game? Do you remember the days we all used to have Game Boys? You didn't have to be connected to anything. You could just have your Game Boy and walk around and play your game, and it was a beautiful time. I could be in the middle of nowhere and still have my Game Boy. I mean, as long as the Game Boy had charge, but you see what I'm saying. You didn't have to be connected to anything. No, I take it back. Sorry. You had to be connected to fun. I'm sorry. I don't know. It's terrible. You were connected to fun though back in the day because there was less of this stuff messing up our gaming experience. I miss the days when I could just play offline, when I owned a game and that was it. It came on a disc. Maybe it was a couple discs, but that was it. You had a game and you played it. You didn't have to be online. We had a couch co-op. It was a beautiful time, a simple time. I miss the couch co-op. I know I'm maybe old and that's just me being crotchety at times when I complain about things, but bring back couch co-op, please. I need it. I like playing games with people on my couch. I'm the only one asking for it, but please help me. Also, if you are also one of those people, let me know in the comments. I can't be alone, can I? Am I alone on this? Ultimately, the thing is that this really isn't about Star Wars Outlaws. This really isn't even about fully the crew. This is a way bigger issue that both of these things are coming out of. This is not even just about Ubisoft, to be honest with you. To me, this issue is way bigger than even that. It's possibly even bigger than gaming. What the issue that I see here is it's this idea of digital media versus physical media and the preservation of media over time. As I said, with digital media, you would think we'd be moving to a place where we would have an even larger library of games, of TV shows, of movies as time goes on. The amazing thing with digital space is that I can have everything on hard drives and I can fit so many hard drives on one shelf or in one cubby compared to how many games I could fit in there. Although that being said, if they were all on discs and I could just play them on discs, you know, I'm thinking of those days when we used to also have all of our DVDs or CDs in those books. You could probably fit a lot of games in there. I actually did have a case where I had a bunch of games in there. But I digress. Digital space is freeing in a lot of ways. You still have to have the space, but you know, like I said, it's on a hard drive, so it's a lot smaller. And yet, it feels like as we move into this age where everything is online and everything is digital, it's actually becoming more constricting because what's happening is the only things that are going to survive and continue to be preserved are going to be the things that make corporations money. The problem is we've put corporations in the position where they get to decide what media is preserved through things like Ubisoft Plus and Game Passes and streaming services like Netflix and Amazon Prime and all of those things. It doesn't have to be inherently bad. It's just that everyone's thinking of the bottom line as opposed to thinking of preserving art in all forms. I just think back to if you've read Ready Player One, the idea of the Oasis in that book and how the Oasis is this place that has all of these books saved, all of these movies, all of this media, and it's just there for everyone to enjoy. And you can go to the Oasis and browse all of it because the idea of this online game is that it's preserving art for the sake of that. It's not about greed. It's just about this is stuff that we wanted to preserve because we're game developers and we care about that. And that's what the Oasis ends up being in part. And we're so moving to the opposite of that. Like, it's so concerning to me. We're going to get to the place, I feel like, if we continue on this path and we don't stand up and do more and say something, which is why Star Wars Outlaws is becoming this, I think, hated game already, even though I don't know if the game itself deserves that. Like I said, I think it looks cool. But it's becoming this because we are trying to take a stand. People are frustrated. It's unfortunate because developers, I'm sure, worked really hard on it. But we don't want to get to the place where, you know, I'm on a Game Pass, and there's like 10 games on there because those are the only games that make money. And you know, one of those 10 games, you know what it's going to be? It's going to be COD. It's going to be Call of Duty with that King Kong $80 arm cosmetic that you can get. At least we'll be able to get that. Also, yeah, that is a thing that happened. I don't want to linger too much on it because I could honestly do a whole video just on that. I mean, just even on COD, that's a whole other thing. But this King Kong arm is part of a Godzilla X-Kong, the New Empire crossover that COD is doing, and basically it's an arm that costs $80. Technically you're buying DLC to get it, so you have to buy all the DLC to get it, but I never thought I'd see the day where basically games have become like action figures, where when you collect them, it's like, you know, you have the action figures you're getting in the set, and then they each come with a piece of a bigger figure, like Galactus or King Shark or something. You're gonna put that together and you get this super cool giant figure, but you have to collect all the other ones. And there's always some in that set that suck. There's always the figures that you're like, I mean, these guys are cool, but these two or this one, I don't even want it. I just have to get it so I can build the bigger figure. That's basically what that DLC, I'm sure, is in some capacity. I don't know, because I haven't looked into all the DLC, so I shouldn't say that. But $80 if you just want the Kong arm, which is a skin, is insane. It's insane. What's happening? People have gotten so greedy. And that's the other thing. This ultimately boils down to shareholders, people at the top, making these calls because of greed. And it also pits us, the consumers, against game developers and publishers in a way that sometimes doesn't feel fair, because I know there's people there that really love games, that just want to make games. And so we're fighting with them, but it's not their call. It's really the people above them that are calling the shots. But these people don't want us to know about them. They want to hide. They're not usually the people that are public facing. They want to hide because they want us to all fight each other. They want all the people that love games to fight each other so no one pays attention to them. It's the same thing we see in a lot of other areas of the world. Rich people hiding. And I'm like, stop that. Stop that. You're the one that's calling the shot. We need to hold you accountable. It sucks, man. It also sucks because as gamers, we're also getting into these fights. Like, the fact that I think I'm interested in Star Wars Outlaws, I'm sure is going to upset a lot of people, because the game, I think, looks cool, but everyone probably feels I should be up in arms. And guess what? I am up in arms. I just also think the game looks cool. So also now, even in gaming communities, we're all fighting each other over, you know, whether or not you like Suicide Squad or don't. It's like this division. And I'm like, it's okay. We don't all have to be on the same page, but we can all coexist because we all love games. We have that in common. So it's just a sad time. And of course, this corporate greed that we're seeing is going to lead, I'm sure, I've already seen it happening with the way that people talk, to a new era of piracy in gaming. And that's also unfortunate because that also hurts the gaming industry. But at the same time, I understand why people feel that pull, because they're so frustrated. Things are so expensive. It's really hard to afford if you love games. It's just unfortunate. And I'm not condoning piracy. Legally, I cannot condone piracy. However, I understand why we might be seeing that uprising. And it makes me really sad because it does also hurt the industry when we pirate anything. Hurts a lot of industries. So it's just unfortunate. That's kind of what's happening with Star Wars Outlaws, and I just wanted to talk about it. But really, like I said, it's a bigger issue. This isn't just Star Wars Outlaws. This isn't just The Crew. It isn't just Ubisoft. It's gaming in general. And every time I see a season's pass, a part of my soul dies. So that's all I have for this one, friends. Just shaking my fist at kids on the lawn, I feel like, a little bit. But I hope that you enjoyed this conversation. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. How do you feel about all these changes? How do you feel about it on the greater scale of just media in general and art in general? Let me know. I'll see you next time. And until then, stay nerdy.